Tonight, we're remembering legendary journalist Helen Thomas. She died this weekend. She was 92 years old, and we remember her as the first female reporter who covered the White House like no one else. But Helen was more than what we saw at press conferences. She was the voice of the everyday American.
My question is, why did you really want to go to war?
Once the unofficial dean of the press room, Helen Thomas was the longest-serving White House correspondent ever. She gave every American president, from John F. Kennedy to Barack Obama, a taste of her pointed questions.
We're going to get out of Afghanistan. Why are we continuing to kill and die there?
She spent more than 50 years with United Press International, working her way up from a reporter covering women's issues to White House bureau chief, the first woman of any wire service to hold that job. In 2000, Thomas left UPI to become a columnist for Hearst. In that role, she became a harsh critic of the Iraq War, arguing journalists didn't do enough to question George W. Bush's administration over a war she called illegal and immoral.
I think that the reporters, in the aftermath of 9/11, were afraid to challenge the government, were afraid to be seen as un-American, unpatriotic, and as a consequence, they really let the country down.
A few years later, her outspokenness cost her her job after she was asked about Israel in this interview.
Tell them to get the hell out of Palestine.
So where should they go? What should they do?
They go home.
Where's the home?
Poland.
So the Jews,
Germany.
You think Jews go back to Poland and Germany?
And America and everywhere else.
Thomas abruptly retired and issued a written apology. But later she said she stood by her remarks, insisting she wasn't criticizing Jews, but was instead showing support for Palestine.
We have the right to ask questions to help the poor people, the underprivileged, people who have no voice. And I wish reporters would have more responsibility in speaking for the oppressed.
Controversial to the end, Helen Thomas always kept true to herself.
Now, I had a chance to meet Helen Thomas once, and she was always one to lend a kind word to young journalists, reminding us that when she started her career, this wasn't the thing for women to do. In fact, she once said, "We in the press have a special role. There's no other institution in our society that can hold the president accountable. I do believe that our democracy can endure and prevail only if the American people are informed." Tonight, we remember the tenacity of a woman who changed the world by simply asking questions. How Helen Thomas lived is another key to living our best lives. We'll be right back.